What's up guys, it's me Jeremy, and today I wanted to talk about something that the entire League of Legends meta today is based off of: snowballing. I'll be discussing both ends of a snowball: what to do when you are ahead to increase your lead, and what to do when you are behind to catch up. Let's go over playing with an advantage first. Since you are ahead of your opponents, you want to play very aggressively to push your advantage. However, you need to buy a lot of wards so that you do not give your opponents a chance to catch up by ganking you. It's all about pushing your advantage for more advantages, while also giving your opponents no room to catch up. Roaming for objectives is a great thing to do if you have an advantage, because you will either get the objective for free, or you will win a team fight. You want to be constantly pushing and pressuring objectives, usually towers, as a team to give your opponents no room to do anything, because the longer the game goes on, the less your advantage matters, unless you can make that advantage bigger. Aggression as a team is a huge factor in pushing your advantage, so you will likely have to be the one to step up and make calls, and if you are doing well, your team will almost certainly listen. Don't be afraid to start a fight as long as you have vision on your opponents via wards, and you have enough teammates in position to execute that fight well. One thing to note is that if you are pressuring for Dragon or Baron, it is almost always much better to simply just bait a fight by clearing wards and standing near the objective, while having all possible entry points warded. Wait for your opponents to come to you, as there is almost always no reason to start the objective and take free damage, and then just leave it unless you have killed one or two members of the opposing team, and have a chance to actually finish. You do need an Oracle to pressure these objectives though, so be sure that someone on your team buys one. An important thing to note is that letting your opponents catch up is the worst thing you can do, so you can't afford to be greedy. If you are low on HP after a fight, don't go for something extra, like that big CS wave or for the tower, etc. Unless you have killed at least 3 members of the opposing team, or if you see everyone on the map somewhere else away from you. If you stay a bit longer for that extra CS or tower or whatever, then it is ridiculously easy for someone on the enemy team to just swoop in and pick up a free kill, because they will likely have vision on you when you pressure an objective due to either wards, minions, etc. Now let's move on to how to catch up when you're at a disadvantage. This is of course much harder than pushing an advantage, but it is still very doable, and it happens all the time. If it is still the laning phase and you fall behind because you die, what you want to do is try to get a kill or two to catch up. The best way to do this is by roaming or by getting a gank from your jungler. In the case of jungler ganks, you can only really just ask for a gank, and then when your jungler comes, do your best to initiate a fight and then have your jungler come in. But in the case of roaming, most players don't expect ganks from other lanes, and it's a great way to catch up, because roaming ganks from a laner are hard to avoid by warding, because you just run in, as opposed to a jungler who will often sit in a bush for up to 30 seconds to get a good gank off. If you can't get a good roam off, which is usually what happens, especially if you're in the bot lane, you should try to bait your opponents into a bad fight or a tower dive. For example, if they waste one of their major spells on farming, or if you can dodge a major skill shot, you can be aggressive while that spell is on cooldown and they are vulnerable. This does not mean you have to force a fight though, just try to win trades by avoiding some of their spells, and when they get low enough you can try to kill them as long as you have enough HP and mana. Many players will start to play too aggressive even after getting just one kill, so you want to turn that aggression around on them by finding a way to avoid some of their skills, and then hitting all of yours. However, you can't play too aggressive because your opponents are stronger than you, so if you try to force something too hard, they will just turn it around on you and kill you. If you play too aggressive at this stage, you will just die more and create a huge snowball for your opponents. Dying once in lane is okay, but dying 5 times can easily cost you the game. Now usually you won't be able to get any kills at all, and this is when it starts to be pretty hard for you. At this point you want to try to farm as much as possible, and you will likely have to build an immediate defensive item. If you don't expect to be able to get kills, just build some defense, maybe even a gold pretend if it is decent for your champion. You just want to make yourself as useful as possible for upcoming teamfights, while avoiding death so that your opponents don't snowball too hard. As a team you want to start warding as much as possible. You can buy less wards if your opponents have oracles, but one of the best things for you to catch up as a team is to ward the jungle and then catch someone at a crazy point, and then either fight 4v5, which should be an easy win, or pressure for an objective. Catching people can be huge when playing from behind as a team, and is the easiest way to catch up in the game. If you can't though when they are pressuring too hard, you might just be forced to try to fight 5v5. If you can, try to make this fight under a tower, as the extra damage will often tip the fight in your favor. Too many people wait until their towers are killed to fight when they are behind, where if you had just fought under tower, you could have won the fight, but instead you got aced. So, that's it for my analysis on snowballing. I'd love it if you guys could support me with a like, an upvote on the Reddit thread, or some feedback. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.